Hello, and welcome to Truth Be Told About Going Wild. I'm your host, Robert Hensley, and this is the podcast inspired by the principles of personal rewilding. Over the last week or so, we talked about the very first pillar or foundational principle of personal rewilding, which is wild beings. We talked about acknowledging, accepting, honoring our innate connection to the natural world, how we should be, as a species, living in relation to nature, and how we really want to bring that to the forefront for the benefit of our mental, physical, and spiritual health. Now, today, we're going to start looking at the second principle of personal rewilding. The second pillar is wild rhythms. Wild rhythms forces us to look a little more closely at our current societal infatuation, or maybe even obsession, with time. How things are timed down to the hour, the minute, the second, and really to the detriment of our mental and physical health. If we look back, way back, right, as humans evolved on this planet, we learned and adjusted, evolved like the animals so that we were awake with the sun and we set with the sun, something known as the circadian rhythm. And over time, we've lost that natural cycle. We have been conditioned to wake sometime after the sun arises, and we usually go to sleep well after the sun sets. We've been developing different light sources that would allow people to feel energized even in the dark, so that it was possible to get the most productivity from people even when there weren't windows or natural light available. But even beyond that, if we look at the cyclical nature of our universe, right? Our life cycles. We're born, we live, we die, we go back to the earth and provide nourishment for something else, right? It's a very symbiotic relationship, or it should be. Everything, if we look at just kind of the water cycle, water evaporates, goes into the sky, condenses, becomes rain or snow, falls back to the earth, goes back to the water table, goes into our streams, our rivers, back to the ocean, evaporates again, and becomes rain, and does it all over again. Things are very, very cyclical, right? We think about how the moon revolves around the earth, how the earth revolves around the sun, how the sun and all the planets are spinning in a spiral, creating a galaxy that is spinning inside of a universe that is also turning and moving throughout space. And that is the most natural thing of all. And from all of these spinning pieces, we get days and nights, we get raising and lowering tides, we get what we know as months from the Gregorian calendar, we get the changing of the seasons, right? From winter to spring, spring to summer, summer to fall. And if we look, right, back before the Gregorian calendar, before Pope Gregory the 8th decided to, is it the 8th or the 13th? I'm not great with Roman numerals. Anyway, Pope Gregory, what's his bucket, before he issued his papal bull to change the calendar for all of Christendom, people lived more closely connected to what some people call the witch's wheel, or the wheel of the year, which was really our lives in connection to the natural world, right? It takes us back to a time when we lived our lives on the land, right? When we saw winter as a time for planning and preparing, as we moved into spring. And then spring was a time when we planted our seeds. Summer was a time for growth and making things happen. Fall was the time that we harvested and reaped our rewards, and prepared then for a period of rest, which is winter. And if we, as modern humans, were to adopt or reconnect to some of those natural cycles, like planning the big things in our lives um, along the lines of the changing seasons instead of specific dates, hours, and minutes, how much more fulfilled we would feel, how much more we could accomplish by using a full cycle of time. We're so, as a society, we're so rushed. We're so concerned with getting things faster and having things done more efficiently and with less waste and with less planning. Right? Things are so rushed and mistakes are made so often now simply because of this preoccupation with time, which is a man made construct. We're no longer looking at things the same way as we did when we lived as part of nature. And now that we live outside of the natural world, as we see the natural world as something that is beyond us, beneath us, we really are suffering from our own, what should I say? What our own problems, our own issues. They were man-made. Um, and again, personal rewilding is a practice that we enter into hoping to find more balance and harmony. And a lot of that comes from looking at how we've, in some ways, devolved from our natural state. So, over the next week or so, we'll be talking a little bit more about the Gregorian calendar and the Wheel of the Year and how we can adopt practices that, again, bring us back in line more with the wild rhythms. And remember, if you are listening to this now, that you should go to the Club Paranormal on YouTube and subscribe so that you know when there are new Truth Be Told shows coming out. There are 3 opportunities each week for new Truth Be Told content. Tony Sweet with the original Truth Be Told on Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern. Bonnie Burkert on Wednesdays with Truth Be Told Transformations, again, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern. And Truth Be Told about going wild on Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Oh my God, tongue-tied. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out. I would love to hear from you. You can reach me via my website, where you can also learn more about personal rewilding, and that is www.rhnaturereconnect.com. Again, that's rhnaturereconnect altogether.com. And until next time.